Hi guys, it's Brooke. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one because today we are answering some questions. I don't know if you can see what's going on over here, but ignore that. That all needs to be caked up. Weeks ago, Killian tagged me in this crochet tag and I was like, oh my gosh, I should answer those. Like I should make a video about those. And then I totally forgot. So we're going to do it today. But this is going to be extra fun because I also posted on my YouTube community page or whatever and said, hey, ask me some questions. So we're going to be answering a couple extra questions too. Before we get started, I just want to say happy Pride. If you're curious what I'm wearing, it's a very old top that I made for Pride years ago. Here's the tutorial. I don't remember who made it, but editing Brooke will figure it out. All right, so let's get started with the crochet tag questions. First question, how did you learn how to crochet? Well, let's take it back. So it was the height of the pandemic, so 2020, I guess, and it was summer. I was in college, and that summer I was pretty sad just because it was COVID, and I was working 2 jobs at the time. I was working for a vet hospital for my university, and I was working at Sonic, so I was just working a lot and exhausted.
It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
That's so true.
And I was just complaining to a friend that I was like, I feel like all I do is go to work and come home and I don't have any fun and all my friends are gone for the summer. I just need something to do. And she said, you know what you should do? You should learn how to crochet. So she came over and desperately tried to teach me how. She was right-handed, I was left-handed. We really struggled. I think she taught me how to chain and single crochet, but we made it through. And then after that, I just learned how to crochet on YouTube. YouTube was and is my best crochet friend. So that's how I learned how to crochet. Number 2, what's your favorite thing to crochet? People ask me this all the time, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say there is no favorite thing that I have because I really rarely make the same thing twice. If I'm making the same thing twice, it's because I'm making it for a pattern and I'm trying multiple versions and trying to improve it. Other than that, I never really make the same thing twice. I might make the same piece or the same construction twice. Like I've made a bunch of sweaters, but each sweater's different. I make a bunch of scarves, but each scarf is different. So I'm sorry, I don't have a favorite thing. People ask me that all the time and I'm like, sorry, no. All right, question number 3. If you could only use one yarn for the rest of your life, what would it be? Honestly, as much as I love and miss my big twist yarn, RIP, I would have to say loops and threads. What is that yarn? What is that yarn called? Loops and threads every day, loops and threads. Huh. Oh my gosh, loops and threads impeccable yarn. That is like my favorite yarn from Michaels. It's a little more expensive than Big Twist, but it's very soft and I think they have a lot of colors. So yeah, that would be my favorite. And I realized I was planning on knitting during this video and I'm just not. But at the same time, if you've been here before, you know that I cannot talk and craft at the same time. So maybe I should just put it down and not even try. Okay, question number 4. What is the weirdest thing you've ever made? Oh gosh, I should have thought about this before I started. The weirdest thing. The weirdest thing. Huh. Hey, what's the weirdest thing I've ever made? One second. I've got all my pieces right behind me, so I'm just gonna turn and look. I don't think I've ever made anything weird. I guess I would say my anime stuff. I make a lot of anime pieces, and to the non-anime watcher, that might seem a little weird. Oh, you know what? Okay, no offense to Aiden. Love my friend Aiden. But I guess my hot bod crop top, I guess that's the weirdest thing I've ever made because it's like, you know, heat map of the female figure. And it's not weird, but it's not the most normal thing I've ever made. Though I do love that piece. It really cinches you in and it's so fun. If you want to buy that pattern, Aiden sells it. What is something you'll never crochet? Oh, there are so many things. I actually was talking to friends the other day about how there's so many things that I want to make that I know I never will. I'm gonna say for now blankets. If you've been here, you know I hate blankets. I think they take so long. People undercharge for them and they're underappreciated and they end up at Goodwill anyway. So I'd say blankets. Oh, a micro crochet. I would never, I mean, you could not pay me. I have terrible vision. I'm not wearing my glasses right now, so you might even see me squinting at my phone. I have terrible vision. I don't have good hand dexterity, surprisingly. So I could never do micro crochet. Like that would make me wanna. Anyway. Question number 6, where do you get your inspiration? Honestly, I would say I get my inspiration from everyday things. I know that's not a really good answer, but the majority of my pieces that I feel very enamored by or in love with are tapestry crochet because that's kind of my favorite niche, as you can tell by my 2 tapestries behind me. So I often just look at like everyday art or pictures or media and I think that could be a tapestry. So that's kind of what inspires me. I'm like, okay, how do I take something normal and crochet this? But in a tapestry version usually. I would say that. I also am a big fan of Pinterest. Well, I used to be, but now there's AI all over it, so now I can't use it as much. The Instagram Explore feature too, I do like to look on that. I'll just, I don't know, bop around. There's lots of good ideas on there. Favorite thing you've made so far this year? I haven't made many things this year. My Legally Blonde tapestry, that is draft number 1. I'm working on draft number 2 now with the hopes of making a pattern. Pattern I want to be for a tapestry, but also a pillow option. So I'm gonna say that just because it's the most fun thing I've made this year, I would say. I mean, all I've made this year are that and like a baby star onesie that took me, if you know, you know, months to complete. So that's literally all I've made this year, I think. Wow, it's kind of a bummer. Oh no, I made flower tapestries. Those were fun. Yeah, I would say my Legally Blonde tapestry. That was really fun. All right, crochet plans you're excited about for the future. I have so many ideas for the future. Like if y'all could see the inside of my Stitch Fiddle account, it's just full of tapestry ideas, and those are what really gets my goat. Is gets my goat a negative expression? Those make me excited. So lots of tapestry ideas. I really want to try some knit color work. That's actually what this tank top's going to be. I'm working on the Lima top pattern, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I mean, I haven't gotten through the color work part, but I did color work for the swatch, and I'm really excited about that because that's a skill I really want to work on this year. Also, this year is the first time where I've ever kind of started to succeed at amigurumi. If you know me, you know I'm terrible at it, but like 2 years ago, I met up with Zach and Drew at our crochet hangout, and they gave me so much good information and like all the tips and tricks that the amigurumi people have to making their stuff look nice. So I've been implementing that with this crochet lovey that I've been working on for the past few days, and that is the best amigurumi piece I have made ever. I'm just gonna say it. It is. So I'm pretty excited about that. Also, other plans I'm excited about, just seeing my friends. I haven't seen them in a while because I missed the last crochet trip, so I'm hoping to see someone soon. Someone invite me to their house. I'll come visit you. Please. Worst thing about crochet. Yarn tangling. I thought about when your hook squeaks, but that really doesn't bother me that much. I really think it is when my yarn tangles because I personally am terrible at untangling yarn. Terrible. Like I have to pay and or bribe people in my life to untangle yarn for me because I just can't do it. I don't know what I get. No, I know what it is. I get too frustrated. I get angry.
It's totally relaxing, except I don't know why. If I put the fox through the cave, the yarn is broken.
And yeah, I end up not being able to do it myself. So untangling yarn, I guess. Or, when you're working with yarn and it's got a factory knot in it, why the heck am I paying $10 for this skein of yarn with a factory knot in it? That drives me up the wall. Or when you buy a multicolored skein of yarn and it's going red, orange, yellow, green, blue, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and all of a sudden it goes red, orange, blue, that gets my goat. If it gets my goat is a negative expression, that gets my freaking goat. That makes me so mad. All those AI patterns that people are coming out with. I don't want this to become an AI rant session, but man, those AI crochet patterns that people are coming out with. Anyway. All right. Last question for the crochet tag. Favorite thing about crochet? Not to be cheesy, but honestly, the first thing that came to my mind is all the friends that I've made. I know that sounds stupid, but it's true. Like, let's rewind the clock 5 years ago. I didn't have all my crochet friends that I have now, and I've met up with them multiple times, and we talk on the daily, and they're just great friends, and I appreciate them. So I would say that, honestly. Number 2, I think, would be the fact that it's given me confidence with my creativity.
Everybody's so creative!
Because I always grew up a kind of anti-creativity STEM kid where I never really thought I was creative. If we're doing right and left brain, and left brain is like logic, and I don't know, I keep thinking STEM things. And right brain is creative. I've always been left brain. I just have never been super creative. I've never been artistic in any way. Never been able to sing, draw, paint, dance, any of that stuff. And this is the first time where I feel like I'm able to flex my creative side a little bit, and it's fun. Though I will say it's very scary. My friends know that I'm not good at it. I still don't trust myself to just create things. Like I could not do freeform crochet. I'm just not creative enough for stuff like that. It's just, that's a little too far for my brain. My brain is a little too rigid for that. But the fact that I can see things like a flower and be like, like I can make that, you know? And the fact that even small things like this, seeing a pattern of a plain white top and thinking, oh my gosh, how would that look rainbow? Like that will be so fun. Small things like that make me excited about crochet. All right, those are the final questions of the crochet tag. So now we're switching gears and we're going to start answering the questions on my YouTube community page. Why don't I know the name of that? All right, let's start. What's your favorite hook/needle size? I used to be a die-hard 5mm crochet hook person, but I've changed, guys. I've converted. I'm now a 4 or 4.5. I think it's because I do so much tapestry crochet now. If you do tapestry crochet, you know a smaller hook just makes your stitches look a little cleaner, a little nicer. So 4 and 4.5, honestly. I don't think I have a preference for needle size. I feel like the knit stuff I do is so variable. Like this is on a 2.75mm needles, but then I've also got like jumbo sweaters where I used 8mm, so I don't really care about that, honestly, for knitting. It's all fun. Though I will say, okay, let's put some guardrails up. I will say, in general, I prefer the look of smaller stitches on everything, but not like too small. So in general, if I'm starting a sweater, I'm more likely to use a 4mm needle or a 5mm needle than like an 8 or a 9. Let me say that. Let me just say.
That's my opinion!
What's your local craft shop now that Joann's is closed? Honestly, I don't know. I will say I'm one of those people where I honestly don't buy yarn that much. I have always been very cheap. Fun fact, very cheap. My friends know this. And so I've always been the person where I don't really buy yarn unless I have a specific project in mind. Unless I've got a project in mind, I don't buy yarn, so I don't have that much. That was a really long-winded way of saying I don't know. I think Michael's probably, because Hobby Lobby. Boo! Anyway, so probably Michael's when I do start buying yarn again. Who knows? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? Not to sound basic, but I think I would go back to Texas because that's where my family's from. But if we're ignoring like the family friend aspect, because everyone I know is in Texas, like if I could do a year somewhere else and then come back, I don't know, like the Netherlands, Sweden, Switzerland, all those places sound pretty fun. Australia sounds fun. Zach? I don't know. I honestly don't think I would live anywhere else, but visit lots of places. I always talk to my dad about how we would love to eat through South and Southeast Asia. Like, we love food. So I would just love to just go through that corner of the world and just eat my way through it. Because no offense to Europe, not as attracted to the food there. Not as much. Anyway, what's your favorite dinosaur? I actually have a strong opinion about this. I don't even know the name of it. I like the type of dinosaur, the one with, okay, it goes like this. It goes like this. This is the head, the body, it's got a big rump, and it's got scales, and then it's got a big tail, and at the end of the tail, it's got like a pointy, like, did you see Fantasia? Fun fact, one of my favorite movies growing up was the movie Fantasia, and there's a really intense dinosaur sequence where these dinosaurs are fighting, and it's a T-Rex versus the dinosaur I like, and my dinosaur dies. Rip. I don't remember what it's called. I'll put a picture. That one. I think they're cool. I like their tails. Fight with the tail. Love it. My light just died. Pause. I really need to start charging my light as I do this. Like keeping it charged while I film. Anyway, what was your first and most recent craft project? Okay. My first project is what I recommend for everyone to be. It was a giant square. All I did was take yarn and I just made rows and rows and rows of single crochets and I undid it and made rows and rows and rows of single crochets and I undid it over and over and over again. I count that as my first project. Where is it? I don't know. I probably threw it away. What did it end up being? I don't know. But that was my first project. Sorry, had to adjust the camera a little bit because I think I moved it when I was charging my light. Oh, most recent craft project. My baby star onesie. I realized I didn't take a single picture of it, so unfortunate, but here's the thumbnail from the video. I enjoyed it. Do I wish I had the second one? Yes. But you live and you learn. What are your top 3 favorite scents? I don't have top 3. I'm gonna give you my top. I'm gonna give you a second to guess. My top scent is fresh linen, you know? It just smells clean. It just, oh, I love that scent. But really, that is the best scent. And you can't convince me otherwise, I'm so sorry. What's your favorite food? Oh, I'm a chocolate person. Anything chocolate, anywhere, any day, all of it. Particularly brownies. Love a brownie. But yeah, really any chocolate. Brownies, chocolate cake. Yeah, brownies and chocolate cake, I guess. I'm kind of basic about that. All right, next question. If you had to get a tattoo today, what would you get? I've always been a flower person. Call me a basic biatch, but love a flower. So I think what I would do if I had to get a tattoo today is I would get flowers of the states I've lived in. So I would get Texas bluebonnet, I would get Florida like orange blossom or whatever in the state I'm in now. Would love that. And I love a forearm tattoo. This is my thing about tattoos. Love a tattoo. I have never been able to make a decision in my entire life. Ever, ever, ever. My issue isn't that I would get the tattoo and then regret it. My issue is I would get it and regret that I placed it there. My favorite spot for tattoos are your arms. And I work in a corporate setting, so I haven't gotten a tattoo because I just cannot imagine wearing long sleeves every single day for the rest of my life. Maybe one day that won't be a thing. Maybe one day people will just be chill and you won't have to cover your tattoos, but for now I would have to, and I just refuse to commit. I'm like, you know what? I can get a tattoo whenever, so I can just do it later on. If, my life situation changes and I don't have to cover my tattoo, then great, I can get one. But until then, Where did Ophelia get her name? Good question. Ophelia got her name from the Lumineers song. Ophelia. Yeah, that's what she got her name from. She's a certified good girl. What new craft would you want to get into if you couldn't knit or crochet? Honestly, embroidery. I think it's really cool, and the only thing that's keeping me from starting to embroider things is the fact that I feel like I have too many hobbies already, and I feel like I just don't have time. Also, again, dexterity and eye problems. I feel like embroidery and cross stitch and needlepoint and all that stuff, I feel like I don't have good enough eyesight, and I feel like it would ruin my posture. My posture's already bad already from sitting at a computer all day. I don't need to be over my tiny hoop trying to embroider or something like that. I feel like it would just not end up well for me. But I love it. I think at most what I would do now is I see people like embroider flowers onto the side of their sneakers, like their Converse, or embroider, on like tops of their jeans or the pockets of their pants. I think that's so cute. And I'm like, maybe that's something I would allow myself, okay? A nice like in between. What's it like being a triplet, both when you're growing up living together and then when you move away from each other? I think I remember you saying that's why you named yourself 1/3 Crochet. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry, but I remember thinking that name was so clever. I don't have YouTube, but I call my crochet business 3rd Season Crochet since my name is Autumn. First off, Autumn, I love that idea. 3rd Season Crochet is so cute. Also, yes, I am a triplet, and yes, that is why I named myself 1/3 Crochet, because I'm one of 3, and growing up as a triplet honestly wasn't very abnormal, just because in my town there were lots of triplets. I think at one point there were 3 sets of us, or 4. I think 3 sets of us. So it was pretty normal, honestly. I grew up really close with another set of triplets in my town, and yeah, we all got along great. It was a little strange because we were around each other, 24/7, 365. The first time I was ever really alone was when I moved to Florida when I was 20 something after college. So that was definitely a strange experience. Being on my own for the first time was really weird, and it was pretty hard, honestly, because I don't know, when you're around someone for 20 years of your life and then all of a sudden they're not there, you're like, what the heck? And not only are they not there, but they're across the country from you, because at that time when I was in Florida, both of my siblings went to separate states for grad school. So we were like all across the map, and it was definitely weird. But I did really value my time away from them, and I feel like it made me grow as a person, getting to really find out, who I am outside of my siblings or my family. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good for everyone to, get out and have some time by yourself, whether it's in a new state or even a new city or a new apartment or whatever. I think it's good to grow and change and all that good stuff. How did you start your YouTube channel? So it was pretty easy for me because I already had my platforms established on TikTok and Instagram. So basically it just started with me taking all the short form content that I was posting on TikTok and Instagram and putting it onto YouTube. And really what happened is all my friends saw Kelsey doing so well. We were like, man, people are on YouTube and want to see this. Because I think we didn't really realize how many crocheters and crafters there were on YouTube until we saw people loving Kelsey stuff. And we were like, oh, there's a platform, there's a community on here of people that would like to see our stuff. So we're like, okay, we'll start posting on there. And so the rest is history. If your job was an animal, what kind of animal would it be? Bonus question, why am I like this? I like your brain, Alicia. I love it. If my job was an animal, I don't know why, but I think an aardvark. I'm curious what you studied, something with animal science, I'm guessing, and what you do for work now. Yes, so in college, I got a pre-veterinary degree and had all the hopes and all the entire plan to go to vet school. And then one day I woke up and was like, I'm done with school. So, and then I'm going to vet school. I don't really talk about my current job online, but I'm in corporate America. All roads lead to corporate America, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's see. Favorite fiber to work with? Honestly, I don't think I really have a preference. They're all good. My one thing with wool is that the wool has to be like really particular. I love a merino wool, but other kinds of wool and wool blends can get a little scratchy on my skin. But other than that, I don't mind. I like cotton, I like acrylic, I like wool. There are specific like sections within each fiber type that I don't like. Like with acrylic yarn, I'm not a big fan of Super Saver. This is Super Saver. It's not very comfortable to wear. Within cotton, I'm not the biggest fan of Lily Sugar and Cream unless it's for a crop top. Because for a crop top, it gives you, you know, it really suctions you in. So I love that effect. But besides that, I don't find it very like comfortable. I would say that. So all of them, I don't have a preference. I don't yarn shame here. If you had to choose what genre/era to live in, which one would you choose? Medieval, Victorian, Western, etc. Could be any decade. My first thought is that I wouldn't want to go backwards in time. Life was worse back then for just about everyone. But ignoring the fact that life was worse for everyone back in the day for all the phobias and isms, this is my thing. Everyone wants to say like Victorian. That's assuming that you would be royalty, when the fact is 99% of us would be regular smegular people. You know, no plumbing, the same clothing every single day, working hard, not making any money, you're poor, you know, you're on your family's farm or whatever, so maybe not that. If I was like royalty and could wear like pretty dresses and stuff like that, then I'd be down, but still, you're marrying your family, you know what I mean? All that stuff. So maybe Western sounds fun, I don't know. I'd love to have a little farm and, you know, do the whole cow, chicken, horse shebang, but also it seems like a lot of work. I'm going to choose going forward. I'm going to go forward in time when, in theory, the world has not burned down. In theory, we figured out how to save the planet. In theory, equality for everyone. That's the time period I'm going to choose. Will that ever happen? We'll have to see. Probably not in our lifetime. What's the best way to weave in your ends? Okay, I think generally there's like a specific rule that's like when you're weaving in your ends, you have to make sure your ends go in, I think 3 or 4 different directions, like up, down, left, right, because say you're weaving your end in across this row, if you just weave it in this way, you can just pull it and it'll come right out. But if you're weaving it to the right for a few stitches, then down a few stitches, then to the left, then up, that end is not going to come out. So I think that's the best way, I would say. But I think it takes practice and takes time to really understand what works best for you. That's not really very specific, but in many directions, I guess I would say. I've actually had projects where I weave in all my ends and then I have to frog it for some reason and then I can't find them because they're so hidden and I can't get them out because they're woven in so many different directions. And that's what you want because your ends are the lifeline of your project and you don't want them to come out. How do I stop my granny stitch projects from growing out of control? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I think that means you love the granny stitch and you make so many, which honestly, I agree. The granny stitch is the granny stitch is the perfect combination between entertaining and like zombie mode where you just like muscle memory it. So I love it. You know, I think it's great. I'm not a big granny square person, as people know, but the granny stitch, I don't mind. I have a pattern about granny stitch shorts. I love it. I think that's what you mean. Hopefully that was helpful. Basically, don't stop it from growing out of control. Let it go. Let it live. Let it be what it wants to be. All right, guys, those are all the questions I have to answer today. I hope this was fun. I had fun. I like talking, and I like talking to people who have to sit there and listen to me because they can't interrupt me. If y'all have any more questions for me, I guess put them in the chat. If I have enough, I guess I'll do this again. I don't know, but it was kind of fun. I've never done anything like this before. And yeah, that's going to be all for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.